Let's preview tonight's Spurs-Hornets matchup. Bringing our guest, Rudy Campos, sweep the league as we discuss Wembanyama compared to Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a few seconds.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kansas City, San Antonio. Happy Friday, everybody. TGIF. Hope everybody's having a great day. And thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. You guys are the everydayers. And we got a good one for you today. We're going to be first looking at tonight's Spurs-Hornets game. Then we're going to bring our guest, Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. We're going to be discussing Wembanyama. Does he compare to Tim Duncan and David Robinson? And also, what is the latest on the Rookie of the Year chase? Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a while. But before we dive into all that, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. You want to go to PrizePicks right now. This is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for first deposit match up to $100. But first, tonight's matchup. Let's quickly review that and then bring in our guest. Spurs, Hornets tonight. Spurs 7-33. Hornets are 8-30. Well, great stuff for a great matchup there. The Spurs are 1-0 versus the Hornets this season. Hopefully they'll get a sweep of Charlotte. Now the Spurs are coming off a road loss versus the Celtics, 117-98. It was not a contest for the most part. Second quarter all but doomed the Spurs 40-20 in that second period. And the Celtics connected on 18 3-pointers for the game. Wemby, minutes restriction, but get this, 27 points in 27 minutes. Just a heads up now, he's not going to play tonight. So there it is. But Jeremy Sohan had 5 points and 7 rebounds. Keldon Johnson had 5 points. Devin Vassell had 21 points in the loss. Excuse me. Trey Jones had 9 points and 10 assists. Injury report, Zach Collins and Dominic Barlow are questionable. So we'll see how that plays out. And, of course, you all know Wemby is not playing tonight. It's the first game of a back-to-back. Spurs made it very clear while he's on the minutes restriction, he will not be playing both games on a back-to-back. Tonight is that game. Now the Spurs, will be in their Association Edition jerseys tonight. So let's preview tonight's Spurs-Hornets game. As always, we like to look at the competition at first. So for the Charlotte side of things, the Hornets are 0-4 this home versus the Western Conference team. That's good to know for the Spurs. But they are in a kind of a home winning streak overall, winning the last 2 games straight. So keep an eye on that. Home is not for the Hornets versus the Western Conference team. Also, the Hornets are riding a 6 consecutive game streak with fewer free throw attempts versus their opposition. So they're not getting to the line. They're not getting to the free throw line. Spurs need to exploit that. Those are just easy buckets, easy points for Charlotte. Hopefully the Spurs can continue that trend for the Hornets and to keep them off that free throw line. Also, the Hornets are riding 10 consecutive games with fewer defensive rebounds than the opposition. So they're not crashing the boards. Again, hopefully the Spurs can take advantage of that. Now, for the Spurs side of things, keep an eye on the scoreboard. The Spurs are 3-1 on the road this season when they're leading at halftime. So you see them up at half, that's a good sign. However, keep an eye on that three-point line. The Spurs have recorded 3 consecutive games with lower three-point percentage versus the opposition. They're not connected on their 3 shots. We saw that versus Boston. They were not hitting their 3 shots. And that, again, that was the big difference in that Boston game the other day. It was just a 3-point shooting. You look at all up and down the stat sheet, the Spurs and Celtics were pretty much neck and neck. The 3-point shot just wasn't falling for the Spurs. And, hopefully that doesn't continue tonight in Charlotte. And there you go, your quick Spurs-Hornets preview. All right, coming up next, we have Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. We're going to be discussing Wemby. Does he compare to Tim Duncan and David Robinson? And also, what is the latest on the Rookie of the Year race between him and Chet Holmgren? That's coming up next on Locked On Spurs. First, I want to talk to you about eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. So whether you're preparing for a daily draft or scout on the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. Let's see who Josh picked this week on eBay's guaranteed fit fantasy picks of the week. Let's go to pick Gigi Jackson with Memphis. Now, Gigi Jackson with Memphis has the need to create shots, so shot creation, and Gigi can do that. He's shown flashes, and he should be able to make some managers will look to grab him and right away and see how Memphis deploys him. So keep an eye on Gigi Jackson. Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being the perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. Now, if you have any personal experience buying parts from other places and you're having those headaches, you don't have to worry about that with eBay Motors. You can buy that part for your car with eBay. Now, you have a dream ride, you want to keep it tip-top shape. What about that car that you love? You want to go get it finally, but you still need some parts. Maybe if it's a fixer-upper, that's where eBay Motors comes in. So remember the last time you had to fix up your car just to keep it running or just get that cool upgrade that you need? Look no further than eBay Motors. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever you need. Well, your car can get that fit with eBay Motors, and eBay Motors has it. They got the eBay Guaranteed Fit. It's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not your cash. So keep your ride or die alive. You want to go to ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available for U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey guys, this is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are listening to a Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. It's morphin' time.
And we are now joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Rudy, I'm still getting dunked on by Prime, man. I'm still getting posterized.
I know. I saw the poster that you had, and it looks pretty cool, man. Optimus Prime, Duncan. Now, would you rather get dunked by Prime or who else is out there that we could say? Maybe Lino, He-Man. I mean, man, what would be the ultimate poster?
Yeah. There were other cartoon characters that would play basketball on the episodes. Mm-hmm. Man, I know Prime was a big one because they had him dunking, they had him messing with the basketball. I think there was an entire episode about that. Like, I'm not kidding, like them playing basketball. Yeah. Who else was one?
What about G.I. Joe? Didn't they have one of those the more you know type thing at the end?
Yeah.
And they were
the more you know, yeah, that's where it came from. But Rudy, we're going to stop because we're going to forget that this is Locked On Spurs, not Locked On 80s cartoons, although that would be a phenomenal. Good. And by the way, kids, yes, the 80s were the best when it came to cartoons.
It was.
Hands
80s and
down.
90s. 90s were still up in there too. And before everybody gives you crap, man, I'm wearing a Nets jersey, but it's Drazen Petrovic. I'll raise it a little.
Petro.
One of the greatest basketball players that this generation will never ever see.
Obviously. I know. He was. If you think Steph Curry was good, you have no idea.
The quickest trigger in the game, like he could literally bounce off a screen and it was gone by the time you were even guarding him. So
I'm saying, I think Michael Jordan even said that he had issues with Petro, right?
Jordan said that Drazen Petrovic was the hardest guy for him to guard. Reggie Miller's come out and said that Drazen was so quick on his trigger that, I mean, just look him up. Google him or YouTube him, and you'll see the highlights.
If you think Steph Curry is good, you have no idea what Petro did. All right. Well, why is Rudy here? We're going to be discussing Wemby, comparisons to Duncan and David Robinson, and then kind of catch up on the Rookie of the Year chase. So we're going to talk about that and more. Again, make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. All right. So I don't know if you heard, Rudy, the game ahead of the past one against who did they just play? Boston. Celtics. Thank you. Yeah, Boston. Thank you. Yeah, showing my age, everybody. The game against Boston, ahead of that pre-game, Pop was asked about Wemby, and same old thing. Good player, mature kid, blah blah blah. But he did say, now, when compared to other past Spurs greats, Tim Duncan and David Robinson, he said he sees similarities there. He says he sees that they trust the process. Wemby trusts the process, that they don't skip steps, Wemby is not skipping steps. So he sees those similarities. And although I appreciate that, what he said, Rudy, for me, one, it's just a little too soon. And two, I feel like Wemby has no choice but to trust the process right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to trust it. You're drafting number one. You're not really going anywhere. They're not going to trade you. You've got like 4 years, at least minimum here, 4 years. So trusting the process is very important. Now, with Pop saying that Tim and Dave came in, they trusted the process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I have nothing against Pop at all, but he can really only kind of technically speak for Tim on a coaching standpoint. And Tim came into a built team already. I mean, you had David coming back from injury. You had a lot of veterans in play, like we've always talked about with Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson, a lot of these guys. But when it came to David came in with, I believe it was Terry Cummings, Willie Anderson at the time. He had Mo Cheeks. He had some good veterans on the team. So the difference between Wemby and Tim and Dave was Wemby's coming into a team with zero veteran leadership that these two guys had. They were coming into the league. So it's a process. And I know everybody trusted the process in Philadelphia and it took forever. I mean, now you're kind of just seeing, the fruits of that labor coming into play. But Pop's right. He's got to trust the process. It's going to be a long process. Nothing's going to happen this year, probably next year, but I think in a couple of years you'll start to see a little bit more. But again, you just have to have the right team around him.
Yeah, again, I go back to what I said right now. I think for Victor, it's just a completely different situation. He has no choice but to trust the process. The process was already in process when Robinson and Duncan came on board. Totally different situation, totally different rosters, totally different era. This year, this era, it's young, it's quick, it's positionless, blah, blah, blah. In Duncan and Robinson's era, it was roles. Mo Cheeks was the point guard. Then it transitioned to Rod Strickland. Tim Duncan, David Robinson was there. Sean Elliott was there. Avery Johnson, traditional point guards. Now it's kind of like all over the map, and you're seeing the Spurs diving into that. Sohan at point guard, that didn't work. Malachi and point guard, kind of, but not really. Okay, let's go back to Trey Jones. No major veteran presence. No knock on McDermott and Osman, Devontae Graham, veterans by definition. But I mean, I appreciate that. And look, if anything, if you go beyond just to the comparison to Robinson and Duncan, just take that out and just read between the lines what Pop is saying, that Wemby is not skipping steps. He's trusting the process. He's working diligently on basic fundamentals. I think that's good. Popovich has said that there's been no issue with him defensively, but they still have to monitor him, Wemby, on the offensive end. Now you're seeing him pushed back into the center spot. He was very clear. He didn't want to play center, Rudy. I remember, don't pigeonhole me. I'm not a center. I can do everything. Well, guess what? Victor, you're now a center, and your numbers are just staggering right now. We haven't even talked about what he's done in the last few games. I mean, can anybody stop this guy? I mean, he's playing just lights out. So I think it's a fun and it's a very nice comparison, but I just think it's a little unfair considering what Wemby's having to go through with this current roster as opposed to what TD and D-Rob had to.
Yeah, the thing too is also with Tim coming in, he wasn't expected to be the leader right away. I mean, we mentioned the guys there, and one guy that doesn't get a lot of love when it came to Tim Duncan coming into the league is, and I'm gonna throw this out there, and people may not even see the where I'm going with this here, but a guy like Will Perdue, man, I mean, he was essential.
Oh no, that's a good thing, yeah.
Tim Duncan, you're talking about a guy that came off of titles with the Bulls. I mean, he's been around, winning environments. So he had a lot of big man mentors. Robinson, I believe, had, an old vet like Caldwell Jones to lean on, who had been, with Philadelphia during a lot of their heydays.
Was Moses Malone on there too?
I don't think Moses was there quite yet, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a few years later. But again, we mentioned Terry Cummings, even a guy like Frank Burkowski, who was kind of, a big man there. Wemby's not having the same thing. He's coming into a roster with the only big man is like Dominic Barlow and Zach Collins. I mean, these are guys that haven't really been, in the league a whole long, and Zach has been injured most of the time. So you really can't say he's got a lot of playing time and veteran leadership on there. where Wemby's coming in is they're asking him to be that leader. It may not come out on pop right away. It may not come from any of his teammates, but everybody's looking to him to lead this squad. And being as young as he is, he's not quite there. But honestly, Jeff, you're right, man. The numbers are staggering, especially when he got moved to the center position. Don't call me a center, is what Wemby said. I'm not a center.
Yeah.
But what he needs to realize is we're not calling him a center. You're just playing that position. A center doesn't mean you're just in between the paint, in between that little area. No, it means that you are a big man. You can step out on the three. You can do whatever you want. But what I feel that the center position for him is where I'm getting kind of off train of thought here, but the center position for him is he's so dominant down low, man. Like you can't stop him. And I think he's starting to realize that his best games are when he's dominating the paint, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. Hasn't transitioned into wins per se, but you're seeing closer matchups. You're seeing closer games from the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm kind of right there with you on the fact that his numbers are fantastic. They're getting better. And I think with the whole thing about him coming into the league is that the Spurs just need to continue this transition with him. And also get him some veterans, man. That's all it is. If you're going to trade, get him some veterans, even if they're one-year rentals. Just get him some veterans that he can kind of lean on and learn from.
Yeah, and also as well, we forget age as well. Tim Duncan and Robinson, they didn't come in as teenagers. Robinson was, kind of pushing his mid-20s. Duncan was a seasoned 4-year college pro. Look, again, I get it, 4-year college pro. Wemby was playing in a professional levels out in France. But just even physically, body-wise, Duncan and Robinson were physically ready for the rigors of the NBA. Wemby's not there yet. Just look how they're handling him right now. You can't play back-to-backs, 24 minutes. That's it. You're done, even though the game's on the line, unless Wemby checks himself in. But so, again, totally different, just physical players, ready for the rigors of the NBA. So, look, according to Pop and everybody else who've been with him, they say that he's very mature, that he understands. Wemby, he does express frustration that they're losing, but he also understands the plan. At least he's saying the right things in public. So, we don't know what's going behind closed doors. He can be flipping tables right now. But we did get a glimpse of that. Remember the game against Chicago where they barely lost? And then Wemby's walking off the court and he just screams the F word loud as he goes into the tunnel. So, it's mounting on him, but he's sticking with it. But so you appreciate the maturity, you appreciate the dominance on both ends of the court. You just hope that he isn't skipping those steps. Yeah. And those steps will add up to being an even more dominant player once the minutes restrictions lifted up. It's already starting to lift up a little bit. Instead of about the 24-minute mark, they allowed him to go up to 27. So he's still not going to do the back-to-back. He's going to sit out that first game Friday, today, against the Charlotte Hornets, but he will play tomorrow night versus Washington. So there you have it. All right, coming up next, we're going to look at the chase for the Roy, the Rookie of the Year award. Has Wemby, in this incredible tear that he's on right now, has done enough to overtake Chet Holmgren? We're going to find out and more right here on Locked On. Hey there, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. You got to go to PrizePicks right now. It is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the easiest, most exciting way to play DFS. Just you against the numbers. You don't have to worry about battling thousands of players, the pros, the sharks. It's just you versus the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players on their stat projection. You can start watching those winnings roll in. They got it all at PrizePicks. Get the app right now. You can, get quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, an enormous selection of players to choose from. Stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And PrizePicks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball season. You can even have fun. They have weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select players' projections up to 25% to provide you even more value. You got to get this PrizePick app. Go download it right now. Put it on your mobile device, put it on your cell phone, your tablet, whatever it takes. get the PrizePicks app right now. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code LockedOnNBA for the first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. The code is LockedOnNBA. Again, a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League, wearing the Drazen Petro jersey. You know, what's another jersey you would wear that's not Spurs? So you're wearing the Drazen jersey.
Yeah.
What about, which other jersey would you wear?
One thing that people really don't know too much about is I have a lot of jerseys from a lot of NBA teams, but I'm the only guy probably in North America, I would say maybe even the world, that says, and I can prove it to you, I have a Boston Celtics Joseph Forte jersey.
What?
The moment he was out, Joseph Forte is my favorite Tar Heel of all time. So the night he was drafted, I went on NBA.com and ordered a Joseph Forte custom jersey to be made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even stitched. It's the one where they used to do the iron on back in the day.
Yes, I remember.
That's kind of the shows my age there. But I'm the only one that has. That's probably a random fact. I'm a Joseph Forte fan, and I've got probably only ever made Joseph Forte Boston Celtics jersey.
You know what? You should wear that next time, just to wear it.
I will. Okay, I will wear that, and that way I can prove to people that I have that Joseph Forte Boston Celtics jersey.
All right. Again, he is Rudy Campos with Sweep the League, and now we're going to be discussing the chase for the Rookie of the Year award. So let's see what Vegas has to say about it as of right now, and then we'll get our thoughts on if Victor is doing all he can to get that award. So, according to Caesars Sportsbook, Rudy, it is Chet who is still leading the pack to win the award. Chet is the odds-on favorite right now to win the award. Close second is Victor. Chet is at a -180. Victor is a +115. And then it just drops out there. Then it's Oscar Thomas +35,000. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it's really just a two-player race right now. Holmgren and Wemby. Now, Holmgren has won the last two Rookie of the Month awards back-to-back. Wemby has yet to win it. Wemby did say that is motivating him. But nevertheless, that is a quick update from the Vegas side of things. But statistically, Rudy, I mean, Wemby is making a strong case that he should win it. He has, 8-9 games straight of 20 or more points per game.
Yeah.
The blocks are like 3 or more a game. He got a triple-double. I still say he's going to get the next quad-double in the NBA, whether it be this season or soon. He's doing all he can, but that record's going to kill him, right?
Yeah, in past years, Jeff, the record seems to, not play so much into the Rookie of the Year voting, but with this, with these days and the generation that votes now, I mean, not saying bad about generation, what we have now, but the thing is, stats are huge, but people also look at the records as well. And knowing OKC has a way better record than San Antonio, I don't know if that's going to affect Rookie of the Year voting. Statistically speaking, Victor's averaging 19 and 10, 3 blocks a game. I mean, the stats are mind blowing for a rookie. But if you go based off of stats only, he's your Rookie of the Year. Chet should come in second, but again, with voting these days, the records are going to play into the fact, I'm pretty sure. So I hate to say this, and Spurs fans don't kill me for saying it, but I really believe that we're going to see co-Rookie of the Years when it comes to Chet and Victor. I see that. Man. I really see that happen. It sucks, but I see that happening because you're going to have half of the people say statistically speaking, Victor wins. You're going to have the other half saying record speaking, Chet made a huge difference. They're going to overlook the fact that they have, SGA playing. They're going to overlook different facts like that. So sad to say, but I in my humble opinion, the league's probably going to go co-Rookie of the Year. I think Victor wins it based off of stats as my vote. But this day, I have no idea, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I still think Victor will get it at the end. I think that his numbers are just going to be too mind-boggling for the voters to say no outright. It's supposed to be an individual award, not a team-based award, but I get it. They're going to look. The loophole is, well, the stats individually didn't help the Spurs win more games. Chet's stats helped Oklahoma City do better. So I think look, I would hate for it to be co-rookie of the rookie of the year awards. I think it's kind of a cop out. Give it to somebody. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough. It's just a testament to Chet and Wemby. But there's still part of me thinks that it's not fair because Chet is technically not a rookie. He's technically not. Yeah. This is his second season.
Rudy, we see that all the time.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. But number-wise, Wemby wins out. Numbers plus record, Chet wins out. And also, too, there's a bigger spotlight on Wemby versus Chet. Teams are gunning for him. And, guys are trying to poster him. John Morant tried. He got away with it. He got it in there. You don't see that for Chet. But Chet has more weapons on his roster than say the Spurs do. Wemby thing. So yeah, it's just so close. But coin flip. You think it's gonna come down to a coin flip? I mean, is it that close of a race?
Yeah. People, I love people saying that it's not a close race. It is a close race, regardless if Chet has 5 bad games in a row. We have yet to see Victor go on a very bad game spell. Knock on wood, he doesn't have one. But also you have also people that are saying, well, Chet only had 9 points because, for what? Oh, he's not rookie of the year. Well, he also has, an all-star and an all-NBA player and SGA with him. So he's not relied to score a whole lot of points. So you have that crowd that says that. Again, it's a coin flip right now. It's Victor, it's Chet, it's back-to-back. Always got to go back to whatever, whenever you're covering sports, Jeff, you and I know we got to go back to one thing. Vegas knows something. When Vegas knows something, you tend to trust Vegas. So if they have Chet up there right now, I mean, there's a reason why.
Hey, look, Vegas predicted 22-win season for the Spurs. Nobody bought it. Now look at it right now.
Oh, come on.
You bought it. I'm sorry. You did buy it. Yes.
I was saying that when me and Vegas are hand in hand. They were saying 22. I said 23, I believe. But I said the high was 28 for them on my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the Rudy and Vegas, their predictions are coming out true right now. Unless the Spurs go on some ridiculous tear, which I highly doubt.
Probably not.
We'll see. All right. Well, there's your quick update on the rookie of the year, Chase Leroy. Hopefully Victor will win it ultimately, but we'll see. All right. Rudy, tell us what's going on with Sweep.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot with Sweep the League, but a little known fact, I like to spill stuff here on, Locked On Spurs.
All right. What are you spilling this time?
Sweep is going under, it's going a major overhaul. So just kind of look for a lot of different stuff with Sweep. We're bringing back an old classic. One of the old guys from the old days of Sweep the League's coming back. So be looking for episodes going live, Jeff, during the week.
Ooh, fun.
So we get hardly any more recorded episodes, and we might be doing some live Monday through Friday type shows. So be on the lookout for that. I think sports media in San Antonio is going to get a lot better. We're hoping to be a part of that as well. So be on the lookout for Sweep the League like that.
Absolutely. I got Prime Duncan on me, and then apparently you have Superman flexing on you by lifting up a car behind you. He's trying to make you look like a chump.
Well, the sad part is that's actually my car, and I was trying to change the tire, and he let his strength just get away, and I'm like, great, now I got to replace the whole damn car.
He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow my next at Sweep the League. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, YouTube, Kens 5 Plus app, everywhere, Spotify. So, yes, check us out. Locked On Sports Today, first ever 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Go subscribe right now. National, regional, local hosts right there, 24/7 on YouTube, Locked On Sports Today. So, for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.